Well, hello retro computing enthusiasts. Welcome back to my channel. Mike here. So this is part 3 of me bringing this old compact 486 computer back to life. It has a 486 DX2 66 processor in it, and I got it from my buddy Rick Brock. He was going to break it down for the gold and precious metals in it. He actually had it already fully disassembled pretty much when he thought I might be interested in it and sent it to me. So back in episode 1, I unboxed it, put it back together, found out there was some life in it. Episode 2, I started seriously working on getting this thing back up and running, and by the end of episode 2, I had a working DOS system. I'm using a CF card instead of a hard drive in it, and I had it hooked up with this sitting out here like this with a CF card in it. And I had a 256 megabyte CF card plugged in there, and we got it all configured and up and running. So I had an 8 megabyte memory system with a 256 megabyte CF card hard drive, and of course the DX2 66 processor. Nice, sweet retro system, but we can do better. And since the end of episode 2, I have been on a bit of a buying spree on eBay and Amazon, and picked up some stuff. First off, I'll give you a little zoom in here. The CF card now lives on a different CF card holder that goes in one of the expansion card slots. So I can access the CF card from the back of the computer now. I can pull it out, I can put a different one in. I found, amongst all my stuff, I found a 512 megabyte CF card. So I have a 512 megabyte system here now, and I can swap it out for the 256 card if I want to. So the eventual goal is to get Windows 98 SE up and running on this thing. So I'll have plenty of room on the 512 card for that. The 256 card, it was kind of a squeeze to be able to get Windows on. I wouldn't be able to probably put a full implementation of Windows on it. I'd have to leave some stuff out. Speaking of Windows, if I want to put Windows on this, well, it wants at least 16 megabytes of memory, and this thing only came with 8. So I was on eBay looking for some RAM for it, and I found a couple of 8 megabyte RAM sticks. Pretty darn cheap. In fact, I think the shipping on these was more expensive than the RAM sticks, and the shipping was pretty darn cheap. So I got 2 8 megabyte RAM sticks, plus I've got the 4 megabyte that came with it, and there's 4 megabytes on the board, so we're up to 24 megabytes now. So that's a fair amount of RAM. So we're really kind of pimping this thing out. I'm going to need to put the CD-ROM drive in here to load Windows on. So, a little bit of a problem there. I didn't get any drive rails for this thing to hold the CD-ROM drive in, hold it in the correct orientation. So, I had my calipers out and was taking some measurements in there and was making some notes, and I was thinking, well, I'll just 3D print some drive rails, okay? But then while I was on eBay looking for the RAM, I thought, well, let me just do a quick search for drive rails for this computer. And sure enough, there's a couple of people selling drive rails that I think will work in here. So I ordered some drive rails. They're not here yet, so that's why the CD-ROM drive isn't mounted yet. But that's going to happen in the future. But we got another little issue with the CD-ROM drive. Getting the CF card holder over here, I don't know if I have enough cable left to actually plug into the back of the CD-ROM drive. It's gonna be tight, literally tight, like guitar string tight. We'll see. I went through all of my IDE cables that I have. They're all pretty much the same length, but what varies is the position of the second connector. So I got the one with the second connector closest to the middle of the cable that I have. And instead of plugging this end into the motherboard, I'm plugging the center connector into the motherboard. So then I can stretch over here to the expansion card slot and hopefully just make it to the the CD-ROM drive slot. We'll see. I might have to buy a longer cable if it won't stretch. That's a possibility. But yeah, so we're making some progress on this thing. It's really coming together. Let me fire it up for you and show you what it looks like now when it boots up. So, you know, we've got the usual, it takes a little while. It's not fast. It's not instant on. But, so we're going through the memory test, and look where the memory test goes. It used to stop at 8 megabytes. It's going to blow past that and keep going. Yeah, we're headed for 24 megabytes here. Not much by modern standards, but for a system this old, that's a lot of memory. Seeking the floppy, but we're not going to boot off the floppy. We're going to boot off the CF back there. The 512 megabyte CF card there in the back. And look, starting MS-DOS. And here we are, C-prompt. We are up and running. That got 512 megabyte CF card hard drive in there. Fantastic. So we are coming along with this thing. As soon as my drive rails arrive, I will see if I can mount the CD-ROM drive in there and see if I can stretch the IDE cable over to plug into the back of it. That would be nice. And then I'll pop my Windows 98 SE disk in here and see if we can install Windows 98 on this machine. And then I will have the option of booting it up either as a Windows 98 machine with the 512 megabyte CF card, or if I need a DOS machine, I just pop the 256 megabyte card in and it'll boot up as a DOS machine. So, flexibility. I love it. So we're waiting for the drive rails to come in. I need to do some work on the case. It has a few cracks in the plastic on the front of the case, which I will probably do some JB welding on the inside just to make sure nothing falls apart. And then I'm going to attack the outside of the case with a magic eraser and see if I can clean it up any, because it's kind of grungy. It's got some tape residue and other stuff. It's discolored. So we'll see if I can clean it up any. And then, well, what else do I want to do to it? I mean, there's not a lot else it needs. I need a blanking plate for one of the expansion slots there. Unless I decide to put another card in it, which I can't think of anything it needs right off because it's got so many built-in things. It's got all kinds of built-in ports. It's got built-in sound, built-in video. So I can't think of anything else it really needs. I imagine eventually I'll come up with something I want to put in one of those slots, but right now, nothing comes to mind. Also, I might mount a fan in here to cool the processor. I'll tell you what, that DX2 gets plenty hot. It's got nice blue anodized heat sink on top of it, but I'll tell you what, you can cook your dinner on that. That is, whoo, that's hot. So I might mount a fan in here just to cool that down, because heat is the enemy of electronics. And this thing's already old. Running that hot's going to shorten its life even more. So, yeah, I will probably find a way to mount a fan in there and keep that processor cool. So, okay, let me get to work on seeing if I can clean up the case a little bit. And hopefully the drive rails will appear here in the next day or so. And then we can get the CD-ROM drive mounted in there. And start installing Windows on this thing, which was my ultimate goal, to get a Windows 98 SE machine out of this. So, yeah, okay, so let me get to work. I'll show you what I'm doing. Wow, these magic erasers are something else. I'm out here cleaning the case, and look, I haven't done this half yet. But look at this half. Amazing, huh? Throw a little Windex on here, a little magic eraser. Holy cow, the decades of grime and discoloration, they come right off. Look at that. Got some nicks in the paint. No, actually, that might be tape residue because it's coming up too. Wow. This thing's going to look like new when I'm done with it. Certainly it's going to look not quite as old as it is. All that yellow's coming right off. Wow. Yeah, some of these are nicks in the paint. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can get some of this tape residue off. And it's not doing such a good job on the tape residue. I might need a solvent for that, but something gentle. Oh yeah, but the case is cleaning up so nice. Wow. Yeah, all that yellow's coming off. The good old days when you could smoke in the office, remember? And all this equipment turned so yellow. Yeah, the tape residue, it's not really doing much with the tape residue. I'll have to try and solve it on that. Something mild, maybe some alcohol. It's not going to dissolve the plastic or take the paint off. But yeah, wow. It's definitely cleaning up nice. This is amazing. And then I got to get the JB weld out and fix where the case is cracked on both sides because it's trying to crack worse there. Don't want that. Wow, I'm shocked at how well this is cleaning up. Definitely a lot nicer than it was. Alright. You rub it down with a paper towel and some more Windex to get some of the streaks of crud off of it. But wow, it's a lot cleaner than it was. I'm amazed. Well, it turns out I only have a little dab of JB weld left, so I'm going to go with 5-minute epoxy instead on this. There's an area in here where the case is cracked pretty bad, and an area up here where it's cracked pretty bad. I will just epoxy it on the inside where it won't show, and that should hold it together and keep it from cracking any worse. And then once it's all held together and it's not in danger of just crumbling on me, I can go after and scrub it and see if I can get all that tape residue off the front. But I don't dare put too much pressure on this plastic as it is, the way it's all cracked in there. So get this all mixed up and spread it over the area that's all broken, and it should harden in just a couple of minutes. Hopefully hold everything together. And then once this side's hardened, I will flip it over and do the other side. Spread it out a little bit so it's got a little more contact with the plastic. Not just in one little spot. Yeah. Okay. I will let that harden, and I'll mix up some more, flip it over, and do the other side. Alright, this has had a chance to harden up good. It's a lot stronger there. I see another place where it's broken over here that I didn't notice before. And I see some cracks up here. So I think what I'm going to do, I was just going to flip it over and do this side over here, which is broken, but I think I'm also going to hit it in a couple of other spots, right here, right here. Oh, it's broken there. Every single place there's a screw coming through, it's broken. So I'm going to have to mix up a lot more epoxy and hit every screw mounting point on this thing, it looks like, because they are all either broken or cracked. And I only noticed the two on the ends at first. So, alright, so I will get the rest of this epoxied up. And then once it's good and solid, I'll see about scrubbing off the tape residue on the front of it when it doesn't look like it's going to fall to pieces on me. Okay, the case is a lot sturdier now. I've epoxied it here, 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 and over here. So it's all a lot sturdier now. Everywhere it was broken. There are a couple of bosses broken off. One here and one here. There's not much I can do about that. Hopefully they're not going to cause me too much trouble when I put the case back on. I don't think they will. Especially not now that everything else is so sturdy. So, next step, I need to find some way to get this tape residue off of here. I've already tried mineral spirits and that didn't really touch it. I think acetone would probably dissolve the plastic, so I gotta find some alcohol and try that, see if that'll work. See if I can make this thing a little less ugly. My wife won't complain so much about having these antique computers around as long as they're not so dirty and ugly looking. That's my plan anyway. We'll see how it works out. Okay, I'm working on trying to get the tape residue off the front and side of this case now that it's all glued back together. That's some tough stuff. Don't use cheap duct tape on your computers, okay? It's a mess. Alright, so started out with Windex. That didn't do anything. I had some turpentine, tried it. That didn't do anything. 91% isopropyl alcohol. That didn't do anything. I had some acetone. I figured it would dissolve the plastic. I tried it on the inside, and sure enough, it was dissolving the plastic, so put the acetone away. Tried WD-40. That really wasn't working. So what I'm doing now is, you know, WD-40 on a rag really wasn't working, but WD-40 on a magic eraser, if I apply just kind of an outrageous amount of elbow grease to it and rub it for a very long time, it does kind of come off. Plus the magic eraser's falling apart, but yeah, the tape residue is slowly coming off. It's a whole lot better than it was when I started, because I haven't even got to this side over here yet where it's really bad, but the front is a whole lot better than it was when I started. So this is working. It's just going to take some elbow grease and some time to get this tape residue off, but hey, the case is starting to look brand new in the places where I've managed to get the tape residue off. Okay? About this black mark up here too. I don't know what that is, but yeah, that's not really wanting to come off either, but maybe with some time and elbow grease I can fade it some. I don't know. So yeah, test your solvents on an inside hidden area where it's not going to show, to make sure they're not going to attack the plastic before you use them. And I would recommend gloves and working outside in an area where the fumes aren't going to get to you. And keep plugging away at it. Eventually you might find something that works. Magic eraser and WD-40. It's doing the job. It's taking its time. It's okay, I'm burning off brunch out here. Had pancakes. I need to burn off a few calories. Alright, after about a half hour of scrubbing on this thing and destroying 2 magic erasers, I managed to get all the tape residue off the front and this side. So beautiful. You know, it's starting to look like it's not a 30-year-old computer. Yeah, cool. It looks a whole lot better than it did when I started. Nice. Okay, so now if the rest of my accessories will arrive, they're taking their time getting here, but it's getting close to Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have a couple days without good delivery. So when they get here, I'll be able to pop them inside, neaten up the cables, and put the case back on the computer. And then it'll basically be done. And it'll be beautiful. I love it. That was worth the elbow grease. That thing looks 110% better than it did when I started. Well, is it a thing of beauty or what? Look at it with its newly cleaned up case. Let me give you a look at the machine now that it's done. It is done, and it looks spectacular. The case has been all cleaned up, got rid of all those the tape residue around the front and the black stains on it. It still has a few nicks in the paint and gouges in the plastic, but on the whole, it does not look like a 30-year-old computer. Sorry about our parrots making a racket out there. Yeah, the case was broken on the front in half a dozen places, but that's all been glued back together. It's solid as a rock now. My drive rails arrived. In fact, they sent me 2 sets of drive rails, which I wasn't really expecting, and the screws to mount everything. I wasn't expecting to get screws. That was a nice bonus. Thank you. So I've got the CD-ROM drive mounted in here in its correct location. I glued the floppy drive eject button back on, so that works. Let me give you a look at the back of the machine, because you really haven't got a good look at the back of it. Yeah, it looks good back here too. Cleaned off the dust and the crud, and it looks good. Maybe not a concourse level restoration, but it looks good. And if I lift it up here, you can see the CF card slot right there, where I can pop that card out and pop in another one anytime I want for a different operating system or a different size drive. Got a blanking plate in the open slot there. So it looks really, really good. And it works good too. It works wonderfully. But as for working, I've had a bit of a rethink about what I want to do with this computer. My original goal was to put Windows on it. I was thinking Windows 98. Been reading in the forums about people who have 486s with Windows 98 on it, and the performance apparently is abysmal, even if you've got a lot of RAM in there. So I was thinking about downgrading to Windows 95 or even Windows 3.1 or Windows for Workgroups, which I might do in the future. I might actually do that. But I'm thinking what I'm actually going to do in the meantime is, I think I'm going to take the CD-ROM drive back out, put this half-height 5¼ inch floppy in there, and I'll keep this a DOS machine for now. Use it for transferring files between 3.5 and 5¼ and vice versa. That'll come in handy for some of my other retro computing projects where I need files on 5¼ inch discs. So that should come in handy for that. And maybe playing some old DOS games and some other old DOS applications. So I think that's what I'm going to keep this for right now. So I will, when I get a chance, change out the drives, put the 5¼ in and get it working, and take the CD-ROM drive out. Because I'll keep the CD-ROM drive for other projects, because I got a couple other computers the other day. I did a scrap pickup from a client of mine, and I got, well, first off, I got a Pentium 2 with MMX that does not look like a 25-year-old computer. It looks like it was stored in a box in a back closet somewhere almost from the day it was born. It's pristine almost, and it works. It boots up. It has Windows 95 on it. It's got a lot of memory in it. It does not have a CD-ROM drive, so I can put this CD-ROM drive in it. I could upgrade it to, say, Windows 98 if I wanted to. That would be a better computer for that. I also have a Pentium 3 system I got that's in pretty good shape. It's going to need the full restoration like this one did. The case is kind of messed up, but it works. So, yeah, so I've got 2 other computers that might show up as projects on this channel. The Pentium 2 system, like I said, it looks almost pristine. It's not going to need a lot of restoration, although I think the hard drive's on its last legs. I may replace it with a CF card, so watch out for that project in the future. And then I've got the Pentium 3 project that will come along eventually too. So, yeah, I've got some future projects, but I think I'm going to keep this a DOS machine for now. Maybe in the future, Windows 3.1 or Windows 95, we'll see. But for now, it's going to be DOS. And I got to try and get Duke Nukem on this because, you know, I want to play some Duke Nukem again like I did back in the day. But wow, this was an amazing restoration project. It turned out really nice, really great. And I hope I've inspired some people out there to keep the old hardware up and running, clean it up, trick it out a little bit, maybe with a little bit of modern technology, and keep it up and running. So, I hope you found this video interesting, educational, informative, enlightening, inspiring, whatever. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see my future videos. There will be more restoration videos coming out, and I've got another series of videos coming out that you might find interesting, where I'm actually going to build my own computer. And I'm talking from the ground up. We're going to build a breadboard computer based on the Z80 processor, and a la Ben Eater or George Foote or some of those other people. So watch for that series of videos coming out. And subscribe to see all my future videos and press the little bell icon YouTube wants you to press to be notified when new videos come out. Check out my main channel, Omega Geek 64, where I get a lot of this equipment where I'm scrapping out electronic waste. This is where I get a lot of my stuff that you're going to see restored on this channel. So check that channel out. And thanks a lot for watching this video series. I will see you in the next video. Bye.